For over 2 decades, Counter-Strike has offered an elite competitive experience, one shaped by millions of players from across the globe. And now, the next chapter in the CS story is about to begin. This is Counter-Strike 2.
More like Counter-Strike shit, because this whole release has been an absolute shit show for Valve. I've got people on my friends list who can't even play this because, guess what? It's not even Mac compatible. Like, it's 2023, and Valve has released a game that isn't Mac compatible. I mean, 10 years ago, that was like the big thing. They kept wanting to make their games Mac compatible. But now that no longer seems to be important. And now there's people who can't play the game because it's simply not compatible. Like, what was Valve thinking? Why was this even necessary? Because it doesn't even look like... I'm sorry, Valve, but it doesn't look that spectacular. Like, GTA 5 had these kind of graphics 10 years ago, and it seems all you've done is make things worse. Like, the whole system... I've played CS2 when it was in the beta. I didn't like it. And I'm not that much of a Counter-Strike player anyway, but I play like once in a while when people want me to play with them. Like, I know how to play the game. I mean, I was never like a hardcore CS fan, but you know, this is just... I know that this just isn't as good. Like, Counter-Strike Go, you just... Everything just worked. Whereas Counter-Strike 2, it just doesn't feel the same. And they haven't even given the option to play the original. Like, I've heard you can go on you can change your branch to like the legacy branch, but it's not like it's a separate game because this has completely overwritten it. When you go in the Steam charts, you see that Counter-Strike's at the top, but how many of those players are actually playing CS2 and how many are just on the CSGO branch? It doesn't tell you that. I know there's lots of players who have to play on the CSGO branch because they simply can't play it because it's not Mac compatible. And there's also performance issues that I've heard about. I always have my graphics on fairly low anyway on newer games, but I've heard that on some maps there are like performance issues. Well, I don't think it's actually the maps themselves. Well, it might be, I don't know, but things don't seem to be as optimized as they used to be. And I've actually had it with Steam. I've already talked about how I've been fed up with the update of the Steam UI that just keeps crashing. I'm pretty sure there's a memory leak, because I've got 16 gigabytes of RAM on my computer, and it still crashes, and my games are running out of RAM, even though Team Fortress 2 shouldn't be using more than 4 gigabytes because it's a 32-bit process. So if I'm running out of RAM, that must mean Steam is using like 12 gigabytes. It shouldn't be doing that. And it's clear to me that Valve, as a company, just doesn't know how to make software anymore. At least not like they used to. Times have changed so much, and I think gaming is, like, in general, kind of declining anyway. I mean, I don't really play newer games anyway, because they all suck. Companies don't know how to make good games anymore. Valve was one of the last who really knew what they were doing, but they've just gone off and they've let their old games die. Like, they just don't do anything to them anymore. Last time I gave Valve any money was in the summer, because when they made the summer update for TF2, I know it wasn't as good as they were, you know, making it out to be, but I thought, like, at least they've done something. But maybe I shouldn't, because that's probably the last time they're ever going to do any kind of update, and it wasn't that great anyway. Just everything about gaming being on Steam, it's nothing like it used to be. If we go on here, we can see, CSGO took a few years before that took off, because a lot of people were still on Counter-Strike Source. And then they finally came over. I mean, you see here, you got the peak here. We know why that is. Start of lockdown, everyone started coming on a bit more. And you got this peak when CS2 was, officially released. And you come down here, then CS2 is released, and now it seems to be declining, and who knows how much more that will decline for. It's just more reasons to give up gaming for me. And you probably saw at the start, let me turn the volume down. It's like trying to appeal to nostalgia here, because that's the thing now. We know that everything was better back then, but that's not just nostalgia. Things really were better. Even if they didn't look as great, they played better. Games actually had a lot more effort put into making them. And it's just... It's soulless now. I mean, you see that it doesn't look much different from any other modern shooter. It's too fancy. I don't like it. And I think that's all there really is to say for this video.